This is a very, very famous case in Maryland. I mean, when this happened, this is Erika Elaine Grace, okay? I'm not kidding. Girl's name was Erika Grace. That is literally the sweetest name that you could, it just sounds so sweet. You could say any name and then Grace right afterwards. And I'm like, oh, what a sweetheart. And Erika Grace was definitely not only a sweetheart, but she was a very, very studious person. She had incredible grades. She was a great athlete. And her father was really, really hard on her about her athleticism and her good grades. Because of that, Erika Grace was an all-star athlete. She ended up getting a basketball scholarship too. She had straight A's. She had an incredibly high GPA. She was literally top of the class, okay? And if any of you guys are also very, very studious people, or you were like that in high school, you find that this can be very stressful. Obsessing over your grades, obsessing over what your parents think about you. And because of this, Erika started to develop, her mental health issues exacerbated at a very early age. Like the rumination, she didn't really have any friends, and she had severe OCD before she had even graduated high school. People said that sometimes Erika would have to do things 20 times and then step away and look at it and then go back and do it one more time. It was very ritualistic. For you guys that aren't familiar with OCD, there's actually a really interesting flow chart for the way that OCD works. So the intrusive thought is drinking, right? So it's like, I want to drink, I want to go do this. And then the second thought that you get to is, oh my God, I want to do this thing, or I need this thing, but I can't because of X, Y, and Z. And then you're stuck, and then you're thinking about it over and over and over again. But you're like, don't do the dang thing, don't drink, whatever. And then you just go and do it, and you feel the relief. And you're like, oh, okay, great. And then the whole cycle just starts all over again, because the key point is that intrusive thought. And then the whole thing afterwards is how we handle it. So it's intrusive thought, and then overthinking the intrusive thought, everything around it, and then giving into the intrusive thought, and then the whole cycle starting all over again. So Erika was very, very obsessed with her grades, and on top of that, very ritualistic. She sometimes believed she had to do certain rituals to get the idea out of her head. So this tells me this was an incredibly anxious woman, okay? So she ends up going off to school. She's got her basketball scholarship, and Erika is so obsessed with her grades and doing the best that she ends up dropping out of basketball, even though that's what she got the scholarship for. But her grades were so great that she got to stay, and she makes it through, right? Of course, this woman is scholar at the very, very top, and it's around this time that she ends up meeting her soon-to-be boyfriend. This guy's name is Benjamin Sifrit. It's the summer of '99, partying, love is in the air. Erika and Ben meet, and Ben Sifrit is this tall, really physically fit kind of guy. He gives off this badass energy. He goes by the name BJ. His name is not, he doesn't normally go by Benjamin. He goes by BJ. And he kind of comes off as a protector. He's really hardcore, right? Even so, he was in the Navy, and he was training to become a Navy SEAL. And so it's the Navy SEALs are these motherfuckers are hardcore, okay? They're hardcore as fuck. So Erika meets this guy, and oh my God, she is fucking enamored by BJ, because she's this girl that's been obsessed with her grades and just training and wanting to make her dad proud for years and years and years. And then here comes this big, strong guy that's hey girl, and she really likes him, and they hit it off. Now, on top of this, BJ is really exciting, right? He's kind of an adrenaline junkie. He's crazy. He always wants to do wild stuff, and he's strong, and he can do anything. And Erika loves this because her entire life has always been, okay, study, work, study, work, study, work, study, work. And BJ comes in, and he's like, let's play, baby. And she loves it. Now, this guy is such an adrenaline junkie that he proposes to Erika Grace after 3 weeks of meeting each other. Erika doesn't tell her family. They fly off to Vegas, and they become Erika and Benjamin Sifrit. So people that grew up like that tend to have very strong people pleaser tendencies. And Erika was 100% a people pleaser. Anything that big, strong BJ wanted to do, she was down for, okay? Now, I'm gonna say that this is a people pleaser tendency, but by all accounts, when we get a little bit deeper into the story, I think that Erika liked these things. I think that BJ exposed her to something she never had before that was fun and exciting, and she wasn't just like this battered woman that was just going with it because she couldn't let go. I think she liked some of the crazy stuff that BJ was into. So BJ goes off for his Navy SEAL training. And Erika is spiraling. She's a very, very anxious person, so it's very likely that she had what people call an anxious preoccupied attachment style. If you've never looked into this before, it's kind of junk science. It's kind of just a theory. It's called attachment theory, but it's very, very interesting. People with an anxious attachment style, it's like a moth to a flame when they meet somebody that doesn't need them or kind of is ignoring them, right? Anxiously attached people, they're very people pleasery. If they feel like the affection is like leaving, like if the person is like moving away from them, they'll get closer, like, no, where are you going? Like a lot of these people are very afraid of abandonment. And so when BJ goes off for his Navy SEAL training, she can't really talk to him anymore. And she is freaking out. She's trying to call him 24/7, but she can't get a hold of him all the time. She thinks that he's out cheating. She's constant, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Panicking. And it eventually culminates to, I don't think Erika just showed up. I think that BJ enjoyed this and he thought that it would be fun. He ends up inviting her up to his dorm. Like, he's in military training and his wife comes up to his little like bunker or whatever. He would go to his training during the daytime and then at night he would come back in and Erika would just be in there in the dorm. Hi, baby. Now I know where you are. They end up finding out that Erika is staying in the dorms and they say, what the your wife doing here? Ben doesn't really have an answer, and then they end up relocating him somewhere else. He still is very busy in training and doing a lot of stuff, and Erika can't handle it. She's always freaking out, and he ended up getting into some trouble, and I believe he was discharged. Now, when I looked this up just a minute ago to show you guys some stuff, this is what came up. Erika and Benjamin married in 1998. They were both 20 years old. She was an honors student and a basketball star at Mary Washington College. Benjamin completed basic underwater demolition training class, but never received the Navy enlisted classification or qualified as a Navy SEAL before because he received bad conduct discharge for repeatedly being absent without leave, insubordination, poor performance, and wearing unauthorized insignia. Now, I want to point that out because I watched one of these murder shows earlier today, or like earlier this week on Discovery, and the way they portrayed him was he was top of his class Navy SEAL, and that is not true. Eventually, Ben leaves the Navy, and Erika's happy. She's got her husband back at home, and they're back to partying, drinking, bars, doing whatever. But, you know, Erika kind of kept a little bit of her good girl in her because she had a scrapbooking store. That was her. She literally had a storefront for scrapbooking, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. Never mind. Then, on top of that, their hobbies started getting pretty weird because Ben no longer was in the Navy, and he didn't feel like a badass motherfucker. So he had to kind of do things to try to show people that he was badass. So one of the first things that Ben Sifrit did, and I'm not going to show it on the screen right now, you're going to have to Google it. The first thing that Benjamin Sifrit did after he left the Navy was he got a massive tattoo that covered the entire right side of his pec of a black swastika, just like Edward Norton had in the movie American History X. If you guys didn't know, Edward Norton's character in there was an incredibly racist man that starts off the show by curb stomping a black man on the pavement, and they highlight this giant tattoo. So Ben Sifrit got a massive swastika, a black swastika tattooed on his chest. And Erika loved that shit. And if that doesn't tell you these people were in a little off right there, okay, after that, they got snakes, and they wanted big snakes. boa constrictors. And having the boa constrictors wasn't enough. They had to name their boa constrictors Hitler and HIV. That's what they did. Afterwards, Ben was not able to tell people, I'm in the Navy, I'm a Navy SEAL. So he got boa constrictors named Hitler and HIV, and then he got a swastika tattooed on his chest. And good little Erika just kind of kept rolling with the punches. Now ask yourself, did this woman like it? She had 5 or 6 years to get out. There's no signs of red flags. In fact, she's got pictures with her posing with the snakes, talking to little HIV. This is a little odd. Another odd hobby and kind of odd job they had was, these were the early days of the internet, and they had a little storefront where they would sell merchandise online. And one thing that they would sell a lot of was Erika's favorite thing. Her favorite thing to collect was Hooters merchandise. She was obsessed with it. Even when she would go out, she would always have her little Hooters shirts on. She would try to buy them in different cities when they traveled. She had Hooters bracelets. She had Hooters memorabilia. She had one of everything. And if she had excess of something, they would sell it on the shop. Well, Boze, how do they get the excess of things? Well, let me tell you. In May of 2002, Erika and Benjamin Sifrit pull over after a night of drinking and partying, and they go into a Hooters in Maryland. And when they walk inside after hours at this Hooters, they trip a silent alarm. And they go inside and they start to rob the place. This is Erika's fantasy. They got they got the t-shirts, they got the cup holders, they got the mug, they're stealing bar stuff, they're gonna sell all this shit. Erika's looking for anything that she might want to keep. And they got all this stuff, and they start taking it out to the car. They had this little Jeep Cherokee, and they were like, we gonna load this bitch up. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. And on their second trip out, a deputy pulls up, and he sees them in the act removing the merchandise from the closed store. And let me get some back up. Next, he puts Erika and Ben on the sidewalk in some plastic handcuffs. I mean, because I keep calling Ben/BJ, whatever. BJ, he was in the Navy, so he's going to respect the law and just kind of deal with it. And there's actually some photos of Erika and Ben after they had been arrested, kind of looking like they're about to cry on the side of the street. And then the other officers get there, and Erika starts freaking out. And she's like, oh my God, I need my medicine. I need my medicine. I need my medicine. I need my medicine. Please, please, please. I need my medicine. I need my Xanax. Please. I need it. I need it. I need it. It's in my purse. It's in my purse. Please get me my Xanax. There's only 2 or 3 officers at the scene right now, but this is a robbery. It's a burglary. So she needs her Xanax? Well, they're officers. They're not supposed to be giving people pills whether they ask for it. She's in custody right now. Well, they're like, do we, you know what? It. Let's get it to her. So they go into her purse, and she says it's in a bottle in the purse over there, and they grab the Xanax, and then they're grabbing her. They probably grab her wallet or license or anything, and then right behind the Xanax, it's the license, but there's 2 licenses, and the officer pulls out the license, and he looks at it, and he's like, oh my God. These are the IDs of the missing couple from Maryland. Let me take you guys back to May 25th, 2002. 24-year-old Erika Sifrit and her now husband, BJ Sifrit, go downstairs to party at a nightclub. It's called Secrets in Ocean City, Maryland. Some people might be familiar with it because I believe it still exists. And while they were downstairs at this party, they met a guy named Joshua Ford, and they met a woman named Martha Crutchley. Martha and Joshua, they had a little bit of an age difference. She was in her 40s, and Joshua was in his 30s, and they met at a company Christmas party, and they just hit it off, okay? She's a little bit his senior, he's a little bit younger, but they met in the most wholesome way. And now they are out in Maryland just trying to get out for 3 days and have some fun. So Joshua and Martha, on the day they arrived, they had just gotten to the hotel they were staying at. Martha and Joshua go and they buy some stuff from like a Walgreens or a CVS. They buy a couple of things and they're in their, hotel room for the week. It might just be toiletries and whatnot, things they needed, body wash, and they kind of just leave it there in the bag. They hang out for a little bit and they say, let's go party. And they go to Secret's nightclub. It's their first night out. They are ready to enjoy 3 days at the beach. They're from Virginia. They've driven all the way up to Maryland. This is their little vacation spot, and they're ready to have some fun. And it's there that they meet Erika and Benjamin Sifrit. These couples really hit it off. They were drinking and laughing and hanging out. I mean, this is what you do at these clubs, resorts, kind of things. Now, I don't know for certain if they just had a lot of fun and wanted to keep drinking after the club closed, or if they had pitched some kind of swinging, or if they said, hey, we've got drugs upstairs, let's go do some drugs, whatever. Martha and Josh go upstairs to their condo that they had rented out. And they're drinking and hanging out with Erika and Ben, and they're having fun by all accounts. It's late at night, everything's really cool. And then suddenly, Erika gets up and she says, where's my purse? Where is it? I had my purse before. Where the is it? I know one of you has my purse, and I've talked to you guys about this before. Sometimes somebody can say something that doesn't make any sense, but when they come at you with that penetrating emotion, you're dictated by that emotion, and you don't know what to do. So when this woman comes out of nowhere and says, where's my purse? They don't know where her purse is, but she's so angry. So for them, the focus now is to calm the anger down. And she's only escalating. I know you guys took my purse. My purse was here earlier. I had it in the club, and you guys are the only motherfuckers that are in here right now. And they're like, oh my God. They're so shocked by the emotion that they can't even get to the situation that's happening. And she goes even further, and she keeps blaming them and telling them, I'm not letting you leave until I get this purse. I need this purse. Erika goes so far as to even make a 911 call where she sounds a little bit drugged out of her mind, and she literally calls 911 and she says, hello? Yes. There's people in my apartment that I don't know, and there's about to be a robbery. That's what she says, verbatim, on the 911 call. And then she hangs up, and then she goes back to threatening this couple. BJ, I'm sure, has stepped in at this point, but there's a point where he gets really involved, and BJ goes and gets his gun. Martha and Joshua are horrified at this point, because how did we go from having this fun little night with these people that we just met that are young and full of life, and they seem really awesome, and this is our first day of the vacation? This is a confusing situation for them. This is a horrifying, terrifying, scary, but also confusing situation for them, and now there's a gun involved. For Martha and Josh, they are so overwhelmed by the emotion and everything's going on that the main thing is, how do I get this gun out of my face, and how do I de-escalate this situation? And Erika keeps saying, give me my purse. I want my purse. And BJ has this gun, and at one point he looks at Erika and he says, what do you want me to do? And then she said, I want you to get my purse back. And that's when BJ starts to escalate, and he tells Martha and Joshua to get undressed. He forces them to get undressed, and he says, I need to make sure that you don't have her wallet and you don't have her purse. Take all of your clothes off. And Martha and Joshua, as terrified as they are, they get undressed, and he backs them into the bathroom. And I can only imagine how much they were screaming and crying at this point, because they don't know what's going on. And afterwards, when they're completely undressed, they're like, we don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have the purse. He turns to Erika and he says, they don't have it. And then she says, well, do what you need to do. And BJ looks Josh dead in the face, just looks at this man that he had literally just met a few hours ago. I can't believe that. He met him just a few hours ago. He looks Josh dead in the face and he says, see you later, motherfucker. And he shoots him. And Martha has to witness this. She's in a place she doesn't know. She's naked. Her boyfriend has just been shot. This all happened so fast. She's confused. She's scared. And then afterwards, he turns and he shoots Martha. Back to Hooters. Once they find the licenses, they know that these two people are involved, because Martha and Josh have been missing. And when the investigators went to their condo, Martha and Josh's condo, do you remember earlier when I mentioned that they had gone to the store for toiletries that day? They find a receipt in the trash can that says May 25th, and they find the items still in a plastic bag just sitting on the table. They literally went to get toiletries and they never even used them. They died their first day at this resort. And so they know that they didn't get a lot of ground. It doesn't make any sense why Erika and BJ have these licenses. So they take them in for questioning. And Erika breaks down immediately. She tells investigators everything that I just told you. That's where we got the quotes from. We get them from Erika. Now, the prosecution, they've got this. They've got this case. They're ready to go, right? But they need Erika. They feel like they need Erika's testimony as a witness because BJ's not talking. He immediately asks for an attorney. Erika, she goes straight high school student that gets straight A's, and she starts talking right away. And so they start setting up Erika's plea deal. Inside of that plea deal, it's okay. So we're going to get you out of this. You're going to be okay. The only thing is we need you to pass a polygraph test so that we can say that you are a victim of, Ben Sifrit and you did not, contribute to this at all and you're 100% a victim. We just need to have some kind of thing to reference in court. So she agrees to the polygraph. And Erika goes in that day and sits down for the polygraph. Now, you guys know, just like with the Christopher Watts case, if you saw all the intimidation that happened before the polygraph, that's called the pretest. In the pretest, they're going to ask you a couple questions, but they're also going to try to set a tone and make you nervous. And when they made Erika nervous, she got so nervous that she told even more information in the pre-interview than she would have in the polygraph. She ends up telling the investigator that after Ben Sifrit shot Martha, she stabbed her in the chest with a knife. So because there are no bodies yet, the prosecutors are like, okay, so she's trying to cover up a stab wound that's going to be on the body. They don't know if that was the first blow. They don't know if that was the final blow. And they don't know if that was the finishing blow. So now, without a doubt, and she's on record, Erika Sifrit is an accomplice to murder. She is no longer a bystander when before she claimed she never saw the shootings. She's now an active participant because she either stabbed a dead woman or she stabbed a woman while she was still alive. So this piece of information comes out and the fucking deal is off, okay? It is completely off. Moving into the trial. Erika and Ben were tried completely differently for these crimes. Ben's trial was first. And because he never spoke to investigators and he never gave a lot of information, his team argued that Erika masterminded everything and Ben wasn't there for any of it. His team claimed that he was in the car when the murders happened. And the jury fucking bought it! The jury fucking bought it! So he wasn't given a very hefty sentence. Now, Erika's trial is coming up. And a couple more interesting pieces of information come out that were already somewhat suspected, but it gets real heavy now. Where are the bodies? Where are the fucking bodies? Well, Erika tells the investigators that they cut their heads off and cut their arms off and cut their legs off. They wrapped up the body parts and they dispersed them all over the city. And so now investigators went from looking for bodies in the places they would normally look, and now they're looking for body parts. They're searching landfills, they're searching trash cans, they're looking everywhere. Erika says she doesn't remember, each and every one. When they go to the condo that Erika and Ben stayed at that night, they go in there and they look in the bathroom and they're like, and this is like a couple days before. This is before the trials. I'm so sorry. My order's a little out right now. But they go in the bathroom and they start looking around and they notice the whole bathroom has been remodeled. And even the people in the hotel said, oh yeah, we didn't remodel this. And so the question is, why would two people renting out a hotel room for 3 days paint and replace a door? Well, let's dive in and find out. So forensics experts immediately come in and they start chipping that paint off. Underneath that paint, there's blood. And then they move the vanity. In between the cracks of the tile, there's blood everywhere. Right in between the door, blood everywhere. The cleaning people had come in and they just didn't even see this shit. The police had to come in and say, yo, what the fuck? Luminol this motherfucker up. So they dismembered the bodies in that bathroom. You cannot say that Ben Sifrit wasn't involved because Erika was this little, 90 or 100-pound girl, and then Ben was a wannabe Navy SEAL. Of course he dismembered the bodies. Of course he renovated the bathroom. But the jury bought every single thing that he said, that he was never there. And they gave him a much lesser sentence. These people were married for 5 years. They thought they were on their ride or die shit. They killed people together. At trial, Ben's team threw her under the bus just like that. And he said, yeah, do it. Get me out of here. Get me the out of here. This man threw her under the bus so fast, and I bet she couldn't even believe it. During her trial, she had spoken way too much. She had spoken to police way, way, way more than Ben. And then in the end, she was too involved that they weren't going to get her out of it, Now, what ended up putting Erika away was a surprise witness that nobody expected. It was a woman that when she heard the story on the news, she called police and she said, I know that couple because 3 days after the murders, they invited my boyfriend and I up to their apartment. And within a couple hours of us being there, they started screaming about her wallet. And they said, where's her wallet? Where's her wallet? Where's her fucking wallet? And Ben Sifrit actually said to this woman at one point, I killed 2 people last week for something less. Where's her fucking wallet? And they were going to do it again. After they killed Martha and Josh, they had picked up another couple and they were going to do it again. But this couple got away because Ben and Erika were so obsessed with their own power and they wanted to laugh that they decided to make a little game out of it. And they made a game and they told them that if they could escape, then they would be safe. And guess what? They got the out of there. I don't know what all the parameters were, but they tried to make a little game out of it and that couple got the fuck out. They got the out. They didn't report it to the police or anything. They just said, whoa, that is wild. We need to leave. And then when the lady heard this on the news, she said, I know them. And they did the same to me. So when she goes on the stand and she speaks, it was case closed. She was able to recount every single thing that Erika said and did and how she was laughing and involved and how she was enjoying it. They were enjoying their fear when they did that. These murders, Jesus. So they were caught on May 31st, 2002. In 2010, Benjamin filed for divorce. Ben was sentenced to 38 years in prison, and then Erika's trial started afterwards, and she was convicted of first-degree murder for the death of Ford, and then second-degree murder for the death of Martha, and she was given life imprisonment plus 20 years. So Ben got 38 years because he didn't talk to police, and it was Ben. This is 2 people coming together that should have never come together, but I'm telling you. So last note, both Sifrits have filed numerous appeals, all of which have failed. Benjamin exhausted his last appeal in 2010. He will be eligible for parole in 2021. Where are the updates? I need to move. I need to leave.